Well, hello there. Welcome to our Friday live demo. Hope you're having a great Friday, and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do something kind of fun. It's a really fun technique that I enjoy a lot. It's you've seen it probably many times. It's just a ring pour, but sometimes it's known as a clean ring pour, where we have very defined rings and very few cells. We want to kind of really minimize the cells in like a clean ring pour. And I'm going to spin it out to expand the paint, which is always a whole lot of fun. So it's going to be a very fun little demo tonight, probably relatively quick one, but I'll walk you through the process and talk about the colors we're going to use, the mixing formula, and anything else you want to know. So, hey, Tracy is with us. Carla, hey, thanks for joining us. And so I'm just kind of going over what we're going to be doing. But a clean ring pour is a really cool technique. It's very similar to like regular ring pours. I kind of alter the formula a little bit so I can minimize the cells as much as possible, which I think looks really cool when you spin it out to expand the paint puddle. So it's going to be fun. But hey, Becky is here. Hey, Becky. And Janice, Pat, Annette is here. Hey, Annette, thanks for joining us, everyone. So we're just getting going. And I think Lynn is here. Hey, Lynn. So I haven't done a ton of these in a while, but I haven't spun out many of them. And I've just started doing that kind of recently, and it's really fun. I love it. So I will share that with you. Leanne is here. Hey, Leanne. So let's talk about the color scheme we're going to be using. First of all, now in the Pouring Studio membership this month, we're going to be using split complementary color palettes. There's a whole bunch of different ones. It's a very kind of traditional color harmony. And I'll show you on the color wheel. I've got my handy little color wheel right here. What a split complementary is. I picked one for tonight. I thought it'd be fun and kind of tie into what we're doing in the membership. Donna is here. Hey, Donna. Monique. Hey. Awesome. So I'm going to flip the camera quick and let's take a look at our colors for this evening. So let me flip over here. All right. So I got my spinner here to spin out a ring pour. But I'm going to be using a split complementary color palette. Here's the color wheel, all of the different colors. There's two sides to this particular color wheel, but this is the one that you can find all kinds of different color harmonies and color palettes. So the first color I wanted to work with was the Amsterdam Blue Violet. This is a super pretty color. I really like this color. It's a really, really deep blue, violet color, obviously. So I wanted to work that in there. So I have blue violet right here. But I also wanted another type of a dark, cool color. So I went, and there's a little triangle right here in the middle section in this gray circle. It's probably hard to see, but right here, it's the split complementary triangle. And so I put one of the points on the red violet. The other point is pointing to blue violet, which is what I want. Well, actually, this is the blue violet, excuse me, but this is the red violet. So these are two of the colors in the split complementary color scheme. And the third point of the triangle is pointing to yellow. So we're going to have one warm color, two cool colors. And so I'm going to be using the blue violet, which is actually right here, over here. And then I'm going to be using a red violet, which I'm going to be using a prism violet, which is a beautiful red violet from Liquitex Basics. But this is a transparent color. This is also a transparent color right here, the blue violet, or a translucent color. So I wanted to make these a little bit more opaque. And especially the prism violet, I wanted to make it lighter in value. So I added some silver to it. Silver is, I think, better to use in some instances than white. White would make this look kind of pinkish. The silver will lighten it up without making it look really pink, and it'll give it a little more sparkle. So here is the Prism Violet with a little bit of silver added. So that's a very pretty color. And the Blue Violet from Amsterdam is right here. I wanted to make that a little more opaque too, and a little darker. So I added a little bit of black. So here is our dark Blue Violet right there. And I'm going to move these off real quickly. And then finally, our yellow. Well, the first thing I think of with yellow is always gold. But I wanted the gold to be a little more yellow this time. So I added some cadmium yellow medium. And this is also a semi-opaque or translucent color. So I wanted to make sure that was going to be more opaque. The gold is opaque, so that will help. But just hedge my bets a little bit, I also added a little bit of a metallic white. So these three colors are all in my yellow, which is right there. So it's a really pretty, kind of a brightish yellow gold color. And it's got a lot of metallics in it. So it's more of an opaque. And it's especially important with certain techniques to get your yellows more opaque. Otherwise, when they dry, the other colors are going to show through the yellow. And the yellow can look really muddy and brownish if you just have a very translucent or transparent yellow. So I wanted to get that a little bit more opaque. So gold and metallic white are great ways to do that. So those are my three colors in this split complementary color scheme. Also, I have, as far as values go, I like to always have a dark, which I have right here with my Blue Violet. I always like to have some kind of a medium value color, which is the Red Violet right here. And then a lighter value, which is the yellow. So we still are sticking with kind of a light, medium, dark value range as well. So those are the three colors we're going to be using. It's a pretty simple color palette, but I did add some special stuff just to kind of deal with those problems of translucency that I talked about, especially in the yellow. This one, I basically just wanted to get it a lighter value than the regular Prism Violet. But the yellow especially, I want that to be more opaque. So when the painting dries, it doesn't look kind of like a brownish, orangish color with the purples kind of shining through that. So those are the colors. And that's a bit about our split complementary color scheme. And with this color wheel, and most color wheels you find, if you turn this around, you can find all sorts of different split complementary color schemes. So if I go to my blue, one of my triangular corners is on a blue. The other two would be on a yellow, on a yellow orange, and also on a red orange. So there's all sorts of different fun complementary or split complementary color palettes you can work with. So that's kind of what we're doing in the Pouring Studio membership this month. And we're doing Dutch pours, not ring pours in there, but split complementary color palettes can be fun, and we can use them in any paint pouring technique that you wish. So I'm going to move this away, and I've got my my canvas. Now this is a 12 by 12 square format. I don't really work on a lot of square format canvases, but when you're using the spinner and spinning out a ring pour, well, if there's ever a time to use a square format, that's it. So, because it will just work perfectly, basically, with what we're doing. So I have, this is prepped. I just put some push pins on the bottom, and it's going right on my spinner like this. And the push pins kind of will lock the canvas in place, so I can spin it around with no problems, and it won't slide around or move. So we've got that ready to go. Let me move some of our paints out of here. And so if you have any questions about what we're doing along the way, throw them in the comments and I'll answer them. Now, let's see. We're going to talk about our formula next. So with the three colors, I'll put them back up here. We've got our yellow, we've got our red violet, and our blue violet. Now, with a clean ring pour, we want to really minimize the cells. And so we just have a really sharp rings in our ring pour. So I kind of alter the formula a little bit. The formula I'm using here is 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts of the Artist Loft pouring medium. You could kind of use any pouring medium you wish, but the Artist Loft is a good one. It's relatively easy to find and relatively affordable. So 2 parts of the Artist Loft pouring medium, and then 3 parts paint, and then as much water as it takes to get kind of the right consistency. And these are a little bit thicker paints, so they have a definite mound when you stream them off off the stir stick into the cup of paint. So they are a bit thicker, and we want to kind of maintain our rings and our sharp edges and things like that. So another thing with this technique, I like to usually work with a paper cup when I'm doing a ring pour like this, or I want to really have the sharp, defined rings. And the reason is I can kind of bend the rim of the cup to make more of a spout, a pointy spout, which helps when we pour on the paint. So I like to have some paper cups around for that reason. And Pat is asking, won't metallics give you cells? They can with certain types of pours, like with, of course, like with flip cups and things like that. But I've mixed the metallics with other colors. So they are metallic, but they're kind of toned down. And also adding less Floetrol and more of the some of the other pouring medium will help minimize the cells too. So there's no guarantee, of course, but we are going to give it a shot. So, but that's a good question, Pat. All right. So anyway, let's mix our cup or layer our cup and then do our pour. So again, this might be a fairly quick demo, but it's a fun one. So when I layer the cup, I'm going to probably leave this here for now. See if I can do all this on my spinner. But with any ring pour, the color you start with is the last color that will come out of your cup. So I kind of want to make this a bright painting. So I'm going to start with my yellow, my kind of metallic yellow here. So I'm going to put that in the cup first. And then I think I'm going to go with the red violet next. So a layer of that. And for a 12 by 12 canvas, I need about 5 ounces of paint for a ring pour. And I'll go back to my yellow. So I'll probably have about maybe 3 or 4 layers of each color. And I'm going to put in a little less of the dark blue violet, just so I don't make this a super dark painting. But I do like to have, the contrast of the dark colors in there. Okay, this is, I think, the 3rd layer. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the yellow on this one. And these are all of the floating layers, so I want them all to be kind of floating on top of each other. I don't want to do any high pour or anything like that in this one. So right about there that is good. That is 5 ounces of paint. So I'm good there. I'm going to set the cup down over here, and now I'm going to spread on a base coat, especially when I'm spinning it out. I like to have some kind of a base coat on there just to make it the paint spin out easier. So I'm going to move these aside. So I mixed this up. I was trying this color out. I didn't really like it though. It's kind of a muted pink color for my red violet, but wasn't too happy with it. But I'm going to use it as my base coat. So I'll just pour some of that on there, and maybe about like that. And one thing with the spinner, we could also spin out our base coat, which is kind of cool and fun. So you can also kind of pick up your canvas, and I might need a little bit more paint. It takes a little bit more paint when you're like spinning out stuff than if you were spreading it out with a palette knife. There we go. Let's try it again there. There we go. We're almost there. Let's try it. So I got a little bit more paint. I'm just going to kind of do some of this by hand. I'll just kind of pour a little on here because I'm close enough. Got everything covered, and now we could give it one more little spin just to kind of even it out. There we go. So, all right. So now we can stick on our, let's pour on our paint. Now I've got my cup. I'm going to make a little spout. So I'm going to bend the cup and make a little spout so I can pour on the paint a little more precisely and in a little bit more narrow stream, I guess you could say. So let's start, and I'm just going and aiming for the center. So I'm going to just give it started, and then I'm going to give it a spin and kind of twirl my cup. And you can kind of change the speed that you're pouring out the paint. And we get to the center of the ring pour. That's when you want to be kind of the most careful. And then at kind of the end of your cup, you want to tilt the cup back and pull it away, and definitely make sure you don't get any drips in your paint puddle. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. And all right, so now it's a little off center. That's okay though. We can always pick up our canvas and do a little bit of, I don't want to go nuts with the tilting here, but we can kind of in a circular motion tilt out our paint a little bit. And then kind of bring it back to the center. There we go. And I'm ready to go. Now for the fun part, we're going to just spin this out and see what happens. So let's give it a shot. Well, that went pretty quick. So, wowzer. Okay. Well, that is it. Wow. So that is, that went faster than I thought. But there we go. I really like it. And just like that, we have a kind of what I call a clean ring pour. I do like that the rings are off center. And we could do a little bit more spinning if we want to. I might do just a very gentle one just to kind of move some of this off the corner. So let's do just a very kind of gentle spin. Maybe a little faster than that. But that looks pretty good to me. These, I could do another one maybe. We did get a couple little cells here. One right there. There's a couple floating around, but not too many. To make this even more of a clean pour, a clean ring pour, we could add more the artist loft, or we could add more of the artist loft and less of the Floetrol if we wanted to. I just went with like a 3-2-3 amount formula this time, but you could always add a little bit more. So, well, I think it's pretty cool. I really like the composition and how the rings are off center, but I love that it keeps the rings very circular. I think that is a very cool look for the spun out ring pour. I'm going to give it one more little spin. Now I just want to get there we go. I'm happy with that. So we kind of moved that the lighter purple off this corner, and now it's more of a darker corner. So, well, that is pretty much how you do it with the spinner. But that was a fun one. Let's see. I'm going to wipe my hands off quickly. Now, by the way, this can get pretty messy, so just be prepared for that if you're going to try using your spinner. I have a little barricade kind of set up, like a barrier, these barrier walls that I made, so the paint doesn't go splattering everywhere. But they also make the little doggy baths, which are nice too. Those work really well. So, okay, so I am done. I am stopping. No more spinning. We also kind of moved our cell kind of off of the canvas too, so that's kind of cool. But that is basically what I call a clean ring pour that we spun out, and with a split complementary color palette. So I'm going to flip back around and just see if you have any questions. So let me flip over here. Hello again. So some of them go pretty fast. So, cool. I'm just going to check and see if we have all kinds of people joining us. Hey, Navala. We got Judy. Hey, Judy. So I'm just looking for any questions that might have popped up in there while I was quickly spinning out the ring pour. And let's see here. I don't see any. Annette says, everyone needs a color wheel. I agree. A lot of people are very intimidated by the color wheel. But, you know, once you kind of know the basics, it's a great tool and not intimidating at all. So you just have to kind of learn a few things about it. But let's see here. So any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Let's see here. Oh, Donna has a good question. How did I get the canvas to stay and not fly off my spinner? I have push pins. Let me flip back real quick here. So I have, you notice I have a kind of a rectangular base on my spinner. That's kind of a solid base. And then there are push pins on each corner of my canvas. There's one here and here. So the push pins kind of lock into my rectangular base. And I have a couple different size rectangular bases for this. So it's kind of locked in there and won't like fly off, as if I would just set it straight down on top of the base. So that's kind of how I do it. I can't like lift it up and show you, but so it's kind of locked in, touching these four sides here. So I hope that makes sense, Donna. And Karen had the same question. Let me see if I can find another. Let's see, it's going to be hard to show you. But yeah, this rectangular base here I have is connected to my spinner, this little table. And then the push pins on the bottom of the canvas lock into the sides. So the push pins are locked in there. So it's like a friction fit and the canvas can't fly off the spinner. So I hope that makes sense. Carla, can't think of any questions. It went too fast. That was a fast one. That went much faster than I was anticipating, actually. Normally, I take a little longer to spin these out, but this one kind of just got away from me. And there we have it. And Novala has a good comment, a cake spinner and a little tub, and you can do it. Yeah, kind of like that. A lot of people use two-way tape on the bottom of their canvases. That works really well too, to kind of keep their canvases in place. And Diane is asking, were your paints a mound on a mound? Yes, there was a definite mound. So yeah, some people refer to that as a mound on a mound. Yeah, that's what they were, Diane. So relatively thick paint for paint pouring. And Tracy is saying, did you make your own base? Yes, I made my own base. Yeah, my spinner is actually a pottery spinner that they use. It's like it has a bearing in there, and it's a very smooth spinning spinner for working with pots and pottery. But I created my own base for it. Yep. So thank you, Marion. Marion's here. I appreciate that. And Karen is asking, can you recommend other color mixes that would work on this type of a pour? Sure, let me flip back and let's get the color wheel out again. So actually I probably should flip it back again. So give me 1 second here. I'm gonna flip this. Let me flip the camera. And oops, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, let me go back here quickly. And so if we're looking at the color wheel, hopefully I don't drop this in the painting. So if we're talking about red, we can do red 2 different ways. We could make red, so I'm getting the camera here. We could make red just the one like warm color and then have 2 cool colors. Or we could make red one of the warm colors and have 2 warm colors and then 1 cool color. So it kind of depends on how you want to use red, but there's a couple different ways. So this is a kind of a fun one. If you had a red, like a red orange, which is very red and red violet, and then you have a green. That's a very kind of fun split complementary palette. That's kind of a Christmassy one too. If you went over here and you could have, now this is kind of a interesting one, a red, a blue, or I'm sorry, red, violet, and then yellow, green. That one can look cool, but it could be kind of tricky with paint pouring just because you might get you could get mud kind of easily with that one. But let's see, let's flip over here. But we could have 2 warm colors if we wanted to. So we could have red, orange, and then a blue green. That would be a pretty split complementary palette. Red, orange, blue, green. We could also, we're in the red family still, have a red orange and then a yellow orange and then just a blue color. So that's kind of another split complementary that has kind of, we're working in the warm range, 2 warm colors, 1 cool color. So that's a few different options. Now, you don't have to be super literal with these. I mean, there's room to fudge with the colors you're choosing. So let's just stick with the this one for a second. Like the red orange, that could be, it doesn't have to be, bright red orange. It could be actually like a copper color would be kind of a reddish orangish color. And you could also put a little orange in there to make it a little more orangey. The yellow orange doesn't have to be, yellow right out of the tube. That could be a gold. And then our blue could be any number of blues. One of my favorite blues would be Payne's Gray. So that would be a very fun dark. So you'd have could be your dark value, and then the gold, if you're using a gold, could be your light value, and then a kind of a coppery red could be your kind of the middle value. So you don't have to take the color wheel super literal. You can look at the colors you want to use and then kind of fit them in where you think they might work. So because remember, gold is basically yellow, copper is basically a red. So you could use metallics like that. Silver, you could put silver and blue, like a tiny bit of blue, a little bit of silver, and you have a very like a cool off-white color. So there's all kinds of ways to alter your paints around, but they still fit in this split complementary color scheme. So I hope that helps with like a red one. Now you could also go with, let's see, go right here. If you want to just go red with as the only warm color, you could have red, you could have a yellow green, and you could have a blue green. Again, that would be, you have a lot of greens and then red. So that would, you'd be running into some areas where you could get some mud. But with this technique, if you added, a little bit of Floetrol, a little more of the like Artist Loft pouring medium, you can kind of keep your colors a little bit more separated. So you could, and especially with this type of a technique, your colors will be a little bit more separated. You will get a little bit of blending, but not too badly. So I hope that helps. That's a great question, Karen. I hope that gives you a bunch of ideas. So let's see here. And let me flip back and see if there's any other questions. All right. And then Marion is asking, is the medium necessary for ring pour? It is not absolutely necessary. You could just use Floetrol, paint, a little bit of water if you wanted to. You might get a few more cells that develop, but if that's what you're going for, by all means, that's fine. I used the Artist Loft pouring medium just so I could minimize the cells and get less of them. But you don't have to use it at all, and you could use a different pouring medium if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be this one. Or you could just use the Floetrol, or even Elmer's glue would work great. And if you just use Elmer's glue, like a 1-to-1 glue and paint and a little bit of water, you will really minimize the cells then, because Elmer's glue does not like to promote cells. So that's a more affordable way to do it. And then you can kind of minimize cells as well. So great question, Marion. All right. Is there a way, this is a good question, is there a way to make a teardrop ring pour? That would be kind of a tricky one. I'm trying to think how I might do that. Like with a spinner like this, like what we just did, that would be probably pretty difficult. All I could think of is maybe when you're spinning or tilting your paints, if you're tilting your ring pour out, like a way to manipulate the tilting, I'm not quite sure. That would be a challenge, I think. But an interesting question. So I'm not quite sure. I've never done one of those. All right, let's see here. And oh, say gal, you saw one at the dentist's office with tight rings. Yeah, that's that'd be an interesting challenge. I've never seen one, I don't think, a tight ring pour like that, or a teardrop ring pour. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I would do that. And let's see. Novala has a question. Is there a true red that stays red? They seem to go pink or orange or magenta, just like a nice Christmassy red. The most Christmassy red that I use is the Pyrrole red. It all depends on the other colors that you're mixing in with it. Red is a very tricky color because if you add white, it's going to go pink. If you add gold, that's yellow. It has a tendency to want to go orange. So red is a very kind of finicky color in that sense. So it's very hard to keep the red super red. It could depend on the technique. Like if you tried this one, you might have a better shot at keeping the red really red and vibrant, especially if you don't put white next to the red, put a barrier color in there somewhere. So maybe, gold would work, or depending on what other colors you're using, even green, even though it's a complementary color, would keep the red away from the white. So it all depends on the other colors that you're using in your that mixing in your cup. But it's a great question of all. That's a common problem. A lot of people have difficulty with red because it looks great with white, but it doesn't want to create pink. Okay, let's see. Yeah, any other questions? Donna has a question. Without building a spinner, what would you suggest purchasing? There are cake spinners that are very nice. I think I have one on my, I'm going to buy one just so I have one that I can recommend. But I've seen a particular one recommended many times. So I think I put that in my Amazon page. It comes with some other tools as well, which is kind of fun. It's a metal spinner. I think it's about $30 or so, but it has a metal base, and you could use like two-way tape or things like that to kind of stick your canvases down there. Some people just use paint. They spread a little bit of paint and then kind of squash their canvas in the paint to keep it from sliding off. It all depends on how fast you're spinning that too. So, carefully spinning as far as like really slinging it can help keep the canvas on there. But a cake spinner is probably the best. There is another one that does have a rectangular base to it. It's a little bit more expensive. I think that's also in my Amazon page under, I think, pouring tools or something like that. So it's also a cake spinner, but it does have a rectangular base on it instead of a round one, which could be kind of a cool feature. But good question, Donna. All right. See, anything else? Yeah, I think we'll have to look into, Karen is asking what a teardrop ring pour is too. I think I'll have to look into that and find out, because that sounds very interesting. So, all right, a lot of great comments. Thanks for the great comments, everyone. Let's see here. Oh, well, thank you. What a great comment. Thank you so much, Judy. I just want to point this out. Thank you so much, Judy. I really appreciate this great comment. That means a lot to me. So, yeah, I try to just, deliver my knowledge without having any ego, so, because we're all here to learn and get better. So, and I'm not here to try to impress you with my paintings. I hope they're good, of course. But yeah, I try to leave my ego out of it as much as possible. But thank you very much for that. That's a great comment. And Navala says, oh, could you send a snapshot of the teardrop pour in the group? That's a good idea. Or you could I'll try to go find one too. Yeah, that's very exciting, interesting, intriguing type of a ring pour. All right. And then where's the site? How to post? There is a free Facebook group. It's a private group, but you can ask to join, and I will let you in. Let me give you see if I can pull up the link quickly for you, and I'll put it in the comments. It is called Acrylic Pouring Club. Copy. I'll throw it up in the comments here. So we have that's my group, one of my private groups, but this is a free group. Anyone can join it. and you just like ask to join, and I'll let you in. But if you go to that group, I'll let you in. You could post your pictures or comments. It's a really fun group. There's a lot of people in there, so that's a great one. Oh, here's a great. Lynn has got a great comment. Museum putty works well to keep your canvases in place. That's a great idea, Lynn. I never would have thought of that. That's awesome. Okay. So, any other questions? Novalis said, can I give my email address? Absolutely. You could also email it to me. That's a great idea, Novala. Let me throw that up there. You could always email me at brad@acrylicpouringacademy.com. And you could email me questions or like that, the pour if you wanted to, have me take a look at it, the teardrop pour. I'd be happy to take a look at that and try to figure out how to do it. And cool. And Diane says, can you post in the website? You could. If you're a member of the Pouring Studio, you can always pour or post in the membership in the community. You have to be a member of that, though, I think. But, that's easy to do. There's like general topics you could post in there, or member art, member paintings, and member artwork. So, yeah, there's many places you could post your stuff. Or also, if you're a member of the or you're a membership member, you could post in the membership Facebook group, which is called the Pouring Studio, which is a private Facebook group just for the members. So cool. I'm not seeing any other questions. Let's see here. Let me see if I could really quickly find that. Where is it here? I'm going to look at my Amazon page to see if I can really quickly find that rectangular spinner. And let's see if I could do this. Let me try to share my. Oops, no, let me try to share a. That's not it. Oh, I got to go down here. Just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so I'm on my Amazon page here, and I'm going to look for that spinner. Here's one of them. This is the round spinner that I recommend. It's right now it's $33, but it comes with a bunch of cool stuff. You can get these scrapers and like these big palette knife, offset knives, which is kind of cool. Oh, I don't have it. Oh man, I thought I had it in there. Shoot. Darn it. Well, I will find it. This is the paint pouring tools. What I'll do is I'll go find it and put it in there. So you could maybe check later, and I'll put that rectangular spinner in there. It's pretty cool. And you can do the same type of thing. If your canvas is big enough, put push pins on the bottom and then just kind of lock it into the sides. So, all right. So, but I'll do that again. There we go. There's the painting again. So I'll leave the painting up there. You can kind of take a last look at it. So, okay, that sounds great. Yeah, if you want to just email me. So yeah, you don't want to post other people's work. Yeah, absolutely. You can send me an email, and I'll be happy to take a look and see how we could maybe try to do that. Create a teardrop pour. It sounds very cool. So, Carla is asking. She opened up a cup of paint she mixed about a month ago. It smelled horrible. Does the paint go bad? It depends on what else was in there. Was it mixed with Floetrol? Because I know there were some batches of Floetrol that kind of went, I don't know how they would go rancid or bad, but they did have a bad stink to them. I got one or two of those types of bottles as well. And you open it up, oh man, it was terrible. It might have been that. I'm not sure what that could be, or if there's a lot of water in there. You know, the water can kind of get moldy, perhaps. But I haven't really experienced that too much with like paint going really bad on me. But it depends on what else is in there. If there was, but I'm wondering. I'm not quite sure. My first thought is that Floetrol, like the Floetrol went bad, like those bad batches. Okay. All right, cool. Oh, Naval is asking, did I do the drawing? No, we're going to have a drawing in our membership. We'll have a drawing every month, and you can submit your paintings if you want to, and we'll do a drawing for prizes. It's going to be really fun. The drawing is going to be Monday, this coming Monday on November 9th at 5 o'clock. So the same time we're meeting tonight. So that's going to be Monday. So I haven't done the drawing yet. So hopefully you could join us, Navala. I'll send out an email Monday, like kind of the membership email that has the links to join us for the video. It's going to be very fun. And Carla is saying Floetrol and water, that can cause the paint to smell bad. Yeah, I have a feeling that might be what happened, Carla. And Tracy says Minwax smells really bad. So if we have like a Minwax additive in there, that could also contribute to that. And cool. So, all right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions, but so last call for questions. But otherwise, thanks for joining me for this one. This was a very fun one. Went pretty quick, but sometimes quick is good. Great questions, and excited about a teardrop ring pour. That sounds very cool. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Do some painting. Hopefully, maybe give this technique a try, kind of the clean ring pour look. If you have a spinner, try spinning it out. I'd love to see what you end up with. And you could always post your paintings in the Facebook group, which I put in the comments, the Acrylic Pouring Club on Facebook. So all right. So, all right, cool. So Galate sent the picture to me. So awesome. I'll check it out and I'll let you know what I think. So thanks for doing that. And all right. Well, everyone have a great weekend. Thanks for the great comments. Thanks for joining me. This was a very fun one. So have a great weekend. I will see you maybe over the weekend. I'll take a look into this teardrop ring pour, see what I can come up with. So take care, everyone. I will see you